What was I just talking about? Oh, my grandpa, right. So my grandfather used to say to me, he'd say, Dale, my boy, never let the truth get in the way of a good story. So with that in mind, I'd like to introduce you to my bag. This bag. I've had this bag for years. It has literally traveled the world. We've traipsed through South America. I've slept on it in the deserts of Asia. I've walked through Europe, the capital cities. It's been eaten by wild animals. It's been repaired. It's been sewed back together, and it's returned to me more times than I can even tell you. I love this bag. But I love this bag for a very specific reason. And in order to understand that, I have to tell you this. Boston, Massachusetts. Boston, Massachusetts, I'm on a train traveling right by Boston University. And you know when you're in a crowd of people, you get that feeling, you know? You get that feeling that someone's talking about you. Someone's looking at you. I got that feeling. And I turn around and there's this group of women, obviously being students. I knew this because not one of them had a hair color foundation. The leader of the group, I think hers was actually ultraviolet. I could tell that she was the leader because she had this tattoo on her arm, and it might as well have said, your father called, and the version wants to know how you spent the tuition. I mean, she was a rabble-rouser. And she was speaking long and loud, and I realized in fairly short order that she was complaining about my bag. Now, no one disparages the bag. And so I looked at her and I said, excuse me, do you have a problem with my bag? And she said, no, I have a problem with you. I have a problem with anyone who thinks they have to kill something just to haul their things around. And I said, really? Well, can I tell you a story? And she said, I don't want to hear anything from you. And I said, well, debate is the hallmark of intellect, and I already think you're an idiot. So, do you want these people to think you're afraid to debate me? She said, fine, go ahead. And I said, well, I grew up on a farm. She said, I've heard this one. I don't think you've heard this one. I said, I grew up on a farm, and one spring, the lambs were being born and the calves were being born. By the way, the worst time to be the kid with the smallest hands. Yeah, so the lambs were being born and the calves were being born, and there was one that was born really, really early. She was really too early, and her lungs weren't developed, and she couldn't breathe. And my grandpa was about to put her out of her misery, and he would have too, except for the fact that I was reading Charlotte's Web in school. And I was filled with Charlotte's Web indignation. And I said, Grandpa, you can't do it! You can't kill that poor calf! And he said, seriously. And he started to explain to me all the problems it was going to have and how much pain it was going to be in. And I said, you can't do it! You just can't do it, Grandpa! And he said, fine. If she lives, she's your responsibility. And I said, thank you, Grandpa! And he said, I did not give you a gift. I gave you a responsibility. And so all that night, I had to compress her chest to keep her breathing. And she lived through the night. And she lived all through the next day. And she showed an amazing capacity to breathe in and breathe out. She had red fur all over her body, and so I named her Rosie, because at that age, I really didn't have that much imagination. And she lived, and she grew. And she grew into a beautiful cow. Not a perfect cow, mind you. She had some attitude. I found this bridle and halter, and I put it on her one day, and I climbed on her back, and I pretended that I was riding her around. I say pretended because I pretended that the direction she was going was the direction I actually wanted her. Which was rarely the case. And when she got tired of me, she'd find the nearest barbed wire fence, and she'd rub up against it, and just kind of hang me there and walk away. Attitude, and I can respect that. I took her to 4-H things. We never won any blue ribbons because, you know, she had been born early and it had other problems. She only had 3 working pole handles. And so she was a beautiful cow and she was a good friend. And when it came time to butcher her, I did it myself, and she was absolutely delicious. And, you know, that is exactly the same reaction that woman on the train had. If God did not want us to eat cows, why did he put forth the time and the effort to make them almost completely out of meat? Anyway, so I butchered her myself. She was absolutely delicious, and I knew that even with a really good deep freeze, our relationship just wasn't going to last that much longer. And so I have a friend who does leather work, and I took her hide to my friend, and he made this bag for me. And for 15 years, she's done something helpful for me every day. Dead! 15 years. And she carries my stuff for me every day. Dead! 15 years. Helpful. full every day. And I looked at this woman and I said, I'm guessing if I took a poll of your friends here, the same could not be said about you. People must have liked the debate because they got me on a round of applause at that point. And she said something not very nice. And I guess it was her stop because they all got off. And I sat down next to the guy who was sitting next to my seat, and I looked over at him and he said, "That's your pet dead cow?" And I said, "Huh? No." No, I was running through an airport in Cincinnati, and there was a leather goods store that was going out of business. And I bought it. It was $50. I love a bargain.